Good morning. Hello, hello. How is everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, everybody. Good morning, Nancy and Michelle, and Liz, Kerrigan, and Jane. Welcome, welcome. Oh, what a week. Who's excited? Who's coming to Activate this weekend? I'm excited. I can't wait. You're coming. Oh, I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be amazing. Oh, good. I'm so glad, David. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. So much fun. All right. Well, as more and more and more and more of you are hopping on, go ahead, start thinking about and or start typing into the chat anything you'd like to get coached around. Welcome to those of you just joining us. David, can you give me a bit more information? What specifically would you like to be coached on? Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, got it, David. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Jessica. I got them back yesterday, so I wore them once and it's really weird. Good morning to those of you just joining us. If you have anything you'd like to be coached around, go ahead, type it into the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Want to give just another couple of minutes and then we will get started with just whomever's typed in. Hello. All righty. Okay. Well, if nobody else has anything to type in, okay, then we will go ahead and get started. So okay. All right. Yeah, let's go with Michelle. David, since you're coming to Activate this weekend, bring that. We're going to be doing lots of stuff. Where did Michelle go? She's right here. We're going to be doing lots of things like that to support you in that. So hello, how are you? Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
I thought I hit both buttons at the same time, only hit one.
How are you?
What I was saying was I was thinking I was like, as soon as you said we're going with you, I'm like, oh, all the nerves come through.
I know it happens every time. People are like, "Oh my gosh, I want to be in the hot seat," and then they get picked for the hot seat, and they're like, "Whoa."
What did I just sign up for? But I'm
Yes,
ready. I need this.
that's okay. If you've seen even just one hot seat, you know that everybody's gonna hold the
Oh,
space.
I've been in your hot seat, but it was a while ago.
I'm sure. I do so many of them at this point, they all blur together.
I can't even imagine. You're a pro at it.
No, thank you. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was reading what you were typing into the chat, and what is the most important thing to focus on today? What's like what
I
within
think the
that?
most important thing is trying to figure out what is blocking me from having a conversation with my husband openly about my business. I seem to put myself down when it comes to a conversation with him. Like I can be more open about all the positive things I'm doing with the business, but as soon as I get asked some of his questions or anything to do with the way he says it or something else, and I'm like, oh, I start backtracking, like this isn't a good idea. I shouldn't be doing this anymore. Like maybe it's time to go get a job. Like that's always my first thought when I'm having conversation. And he's not. It's I know it's more me than even what he's just trying to understand. And honestly, he's like, you don't. He even said this morning, he's like, you don't have to do this by yourself. Like we can sit down. I can help you write goals. I can help you do these things, but like I seriously like sat there today, like I knew he had kind of woken up, so I actually went back to bed so I could talk to him, and I'm like sitting there just like completely paralyzed, like what do I even want to say to him? Like, but I'm tired of this being a block between the two of us, because honestly, and I think even if I was just more open with what I was doing and how I was doing it, he would be fine with everything. I just don't even know what's blocking me from doing that. And just feeling that pressure of, I don't know if it's just because it's not monetizing as much as I want, and or I don't, in his eye, or I don't even know what it is. That's where I'm at.
Well, let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. All right. So, what would you like to have at the end of the hot seat today?
um I would like to be able to have the next step of how to communicate with him better about my business.
Okay, so how are you going to know that you're going to be able to take this next step to communicate better with him?
How am I going to know? um I feel like this tightness in my chest and my throat, um just at the thought of it. And even when I was had all these thoughts of like in bed, when I'm like, I want to tell him this, I want to tell him that, and then all of a sudden I was just like, it just all of a sudden I almost like felt like I didn't, like like a child, almost just so stupid, like I can't like even share my ideas with them, like they won't be acceptable. So I feel like at the end of it, if I feel like that I have the knowledge of that it's not dumb, that it's not childish, that I can actually have this conversation with him. And I really do know that it's me, and all he wants to do is help, and I just don't even know how to let him help.
So that tightness is going to kind of just like go away.
Yes. Thank you.
That's okay. I just want to make sure I was following. Okay.
And just to warn you, because you've said this to me before, I tend which actually I wish I had in front of me. I want the feeling. I do have a little feeling wheel in front of me.
Oh,
I tend to go to the situations instead of the actual feeling, so I might need some reiteration on that.
problem. Not a problem. Okay. So, um, so you had asked this question to yourself when you had put this in. So that's why I was like, do I really want to start with that question? Because you're like, I don't know, what could I be afraid of? And so if I come out right off the bat with, well, what are you afraid of if you tell him? It seems a little redundant. So we'll come back to that question because I do want to know. And how would it be a problem if you did tell him and he did think it was like childish and stupid, and he was like, why would you tell me this, and why would you do this? Like, how would that be a problem?
I think that's what I tell myself, and so it'd be a problem because that's my first reaction is always, okay, well, it's time to just stop what I'm doing and go get a job, even though that's not what I want to do. And he knows that's not what I want to do. But at the same time, then it's also a problem because I'm putting so much pressure on myself, and then I'm not even enjoying what I'm doing right now. And that's what he even asked me this morning. He even asked, are you even enjoying any of this? Or what parts of it do you even enjoy? And I know he keeps thinking that I'm only doing the parts that I enjoy, but that's not true at all. But I don't share that information with him. So all we can do is make assumptions because I'm not sharing information with him.
Okay. So how would it be a problem if you did just stop and went and got a job?
First of all, one of the things that I actually brought up to him was he travels to Mexico usually about a week every month. I'm like, so would you stop going to Mexico for your work and some of the things and all the child? He does do a lot more of the swim runs when he's home, but then I'm the one who's doing all those things, and I'm able to make that time and space for that as well for the family. But also for me, it'd be a problem because even though I'm stressed out about what I'm creating right now, I know deep down it's something that needs to come out of me. It just, I feel like I'm at the tough point right now, but I don't think could, I would just be in regret if I stopped doing this.
Okay. So where would you rather have your regret? Regret around keeping this business conversation from your husband and then spiraling to this place where then you have to stop and get a job because there's so much pressure. And then now you just have regret because you stopped doing your job because you didn't talk to your husband? Or do you want to have regret just having the conversation with your husband and seeing kind of what happens? Because it sounds like there's going to be regret no matter what. It sounds like there's going to be some
You're
type of.
right. When you just said that, it was like all of this, like, also I was like, oh my gosh, like just the way you put all that together right now. And no, I agree. And I, that's why I think I even tried to talk as much as I did this morning. But at the same time, it was like, my brain just literally goes to mush. And I'm like, all the thoughts that I was, and I will say I've tried to write letters. I've tried to like, different aspects to have this conversation, but I really just, I don't know what this block is inside of me. And he's very good. He also did make this statement quite a few times. He even made it in front of my son when he was upstairs with my son helping him with something. He says, "You're just like your mother. I'm the one with the NBA. I'm the one who could help both of you." And like my son has a lot of my tendencies as well, so like seeing that through them. But it was just always that idea of like he knows best, and so I think part of it is if I tell him the ideas and stuff, he's all of a sudden like, well, that's just a dumb idea. Why are you even doing that? And so then I just want to give up on those ideas. And I'm been so afraid that I do feel like I'm going in a good direction. But every time he's like, well, all of a sudden you've narrowed down to mompreneurs. Isn't that different than what you were just doing? I'm like, it's only narrowed what I'm doing. It's not changed what he's doing. But to him, it's a big, huge change from what I did. He's like, you don't see anything through. You just keep changing your direction, what you're doing. And for me, I feel like I'm changing it to be narrow, to be more specific and actually attract the right people as I hone in on my messaging. But to him, it's just another direction shift of why are you doing that? What's your results now? What are your goals now? And all of a sudden I'm like, I thought I knew, and now I get all tongue tied and can't answer. Like look on your face. And I thought I'd be crying by now, and I'm laughing instead. So maybe that's a good thing.
Well, after I ask
Or
these
not.
next questions, we'll see. We'll see where
All
you're.
right, we'll see.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, 10 being absolutely amazing, beautiful, wonderful, awesome, how confident would you say you are in you as the CEO of your business?
How confident am I? More like a 3 right now.
Yeah. So when you were explaining that and you're like, oh, like he knows best, he has this, he has this, he has this, he has the MBA, he has this, he has the knowledge, he asks these questions, it makes sense that that would shake you because your confidence in running this business is not very high, which is okay. And it makes sense that if somebody were to then come in and ask questions that are either out of your scope of view or something you hadn't thought about yet, that you're now going to feel childish, stupid, and not like that your ideas aren't acceptable. Fair enough. So what do you take it to mean about yourself when he has an idea or a question that you hadn't thought of yet?
It, I feel dumb and stupid, like, um, and a failure, just like, and that this will never be successful.
What's your definition of confidence?
That's my definition of confidence. The words that are coming to me are just that I feel like I know what I'm doing. I feel like it makes sense to go that way.
So, how do you know that you know what you're doing?
I'm not sure. And that's, I think, part of the thing is I know what he's saying are things that I need, and I've been trying to do those things, and I still haven't been successful at doing what he's saying I need to do. And so, but then when I try to do it with him, it's gotten to the point where we have a whiteboard in the basement. He's written down all these things on a whiteboard, and we tried to make a plan and try to do these things. And then either I deviate from it or don't do it the way that we had come up with or something. And then he's just like, he always comes back to, you never follow through. And he's made comments like, you're not making any money at this point, and I don't want to work till I'm 75 supporting you. But at the same time, he says he believes in what I'm doing and thinks it could be if I did the right things, but then he makes statements like that. So I like can't really, like, they don't go together. And so I don't really know what he, because it's such polar opposites, I'm not really sure where he does stand. And so then when I try to have these conversations, I feel like it needs to get to a certain point that he will finally say, this is a good idea.
So, what's important to you about getting approval from your husband?
Mm, that's a good question. I guess because he keeps calling, for a long time, he's calling it a hobby. Um, and so it keeps equating to how much money I'm making. And so I also put so much pressure on myself because I do feel that I should be contributing to the family. And so the approval comes with knowing that feel like I'm actually contributing to the family, because at this point, I guess I don't feel like I am, even though I know that's not true, but I feel that way. See, the tears are coming. You did it, Isabella.
So, how is it a problem if you don't contribute to the family?
I feel useless, worthless. Because especially if I'm not making the business run, then that's the way I've been looking at it. Is everyone's trying to be an entrepreneur so they can spend more time with their family and have more fun and do all these things. And so I feel like such a hypocrite because I'm trying, like, we even went snow tubing on Sunday, and we took two of my daughters, each of them took a friend, and we're on the on the going up on the lift, and I was talking to Bella. She couldn't quite hear me, but she could. And I didn't go with them the day before when she asked me to go. I'm like, I'm only going to go once this weekend. I know I'm not going to go both times. And then I was like, see, I told you I'd come today. She's like, well, it didn't really matter, Mom. And I was like, okay. And so I feel kind of lost all over the place.
So, what do you take it to mean about yourself if it doesn't really matter? If it doesn't really matter, Mom, even when you're trying to put in the effort and it's not making any difference. What do you take that to mean about yourself?
I don't really know what my purpose is or what the point of it is, because everything I'm trying to do is to help moms figure out how to support their kids. And then I don't feel like I'm doing that for my own kids. And then I put the business first, and then I'm not having the fun that you're trying to do this business for with your family, and trying to have more fun with them and make more memories. And we went to Puerto Rico over Christmas, and they had a great time. But for me, I'm in my head just trying, like my whole intention was set out to have fun with them. And I end up scraping my whole entire leg. And so they go off and do something without me. I'm sitting on the beach by myself, and I'm feel like I'm trying so hard to have these memories with them, but I'm doing something wrong.
So when you think about that, what are your negative thoughts and emotions?
Can you say that one more time? I can hear
So
you.
when you think about that, about trying to do everything you can and it still feels like you're doing everything wrong, what are your negative thoughts and emotions?
That I'm just not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel I just keep putting myself down that all the things I'm doing aren't good enough. That doing things with my family isn't good enough. The business isn't good enough. Nothing seems to be going in the right directions. Um, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I just keep putting myself down, going, it's just never good enough.
So when you're thinking that nothing is good enough, what are you feeling? What are your negative emotions?
I kind of just feel like numb, like I'm not worth anything. And I feel um, like I just want to check out, and trouble even feeling anything. Um, and just kind of anxious and just not sure what to do with myself.
So can I state an observation?
Of course I can. I would love to hear it.
So numbing and checking out is a fancy way that we as human beings have justified suppressing our emotions or avoiding our emotions. It's just kind of what human beings do these days. So, if you were to actually feel your emotions instead of trying to check out and numb them out, what emotion are you afraid that you're going to fall into?
Depression. See, I'm looking at my wheel to help me. Because I do have a tendency to do that, and to not really feel into anything, and just to push it off.
So, if you were to feel this depression, what other negative emotions could be present?
Well, I know I'm anxious about the future, everything happening. I'm definitely fearful of these conversations, or that I'm going to ruin my kids. And just guilty I'm not choosing the right thing at the right time. You have that look.
Because I see something, but you haven't seen it yet. So, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. Okay.
Just don't play poker.
Well, it'll come up. You'll get there. It's not meant to come up right this moment. It's all good. Okay. So, what are the negative qualities and characteristics of people who don't follow through?
Negative characteristics we don't fall through. Well, I mean, they're lonely, they're unsuccessful. They don't have any friends. No one wants to be around them. They lack their own conviction. I guess the word that keeps fogging in my head is hypocritical.
Anything else?
Hmm?
Anything else?
Insecure. Lacking confidence.
So when you think about people who don't follow through as being lonely, unsuccessful, having no friends, nobody wanting to be around them, lacking conviction, hypocritical, insecure, and lacking confidence, what are your negative thoughts and emotions?
That I don't want to be like that, but I feel like I am.
Yeah. So what do you take it to mean about yourself if you are like that?
That I definitely shouldn't be doing this business. um, that I should that I'm worthless. That I'm definitely not contributing anything to my family. That I just I don't know.
What emotion is coming up right now?
Just that anxious, frustrated feeling of like deep down. I mean, I know like my brain says it's not true, but like my body just that pain and that's feeling in my voice makes it feel true. And my chest is just getting tighter.
So I'm not sure if this is on your emotion wheel, which is why I'm going to ask. So if this word does not resonate with you, please do not take it on. You're free from it. Shame.
Mm. Yeah, because actually, when you say that, because even when I was saying guilt, like the guilt didn't seem enough, and getting way down the Brene Brown rabbit hole between the difference, and when you said it like that, it just yeah. And now it's
It's
not. Mine's a kid's wheel, so it's not on that one.
That's okay. That's why I asked, because I knew you were using an emotion wheel, and sometimes emotion wheels don't put emotion. They don't put all the emotions. It's not.
I put all the stickers on my computer to do all the box breathing and stuff, and have the kids doing it, and then I'm like, I need to actually start using this stuff.
So I mean, it it's just from the very beginning, right? Even just not getting the approval or the recognition or the permission, like whatever it is that you're seeking, it's there's shame behind I'm not confident enough. He knows more than me. And it's kind of just like I just have like this picture where it's like very weird, but it's like you're in like a dryer and you just keep getting tumbled over and over and over and over. And it's just kind of the shame is just kind of keeping you in this one thing because it's like, well, if I go here, then there's shame. And if I go here, then there's shame. And if I go here, then there's shame. So I just better keep it all to myself. So then that way there's no shame. And it's just, you're kind of just getting like tumbled over and over and over.
I was picturing a cycle this morning of like, I know I'm on this, and I was thinking the rat wheel, but it wasn't even that. And I was picturing the cycle of just like, I know I'm on this. I'm trying so hard to get off it. I'm trying to have these conversations with him, and I know I need to, but I don't know how. And when you said that right there, that was like exactly what I was kind of seeing without the word associate with it.
Yeah. So it's not enough to just like get off the hamster wheel, right? Because it's not like you're running and then it's open. You need to actually like open the door and get out. So where else in your life do you feel that you're worthless and that you have shame?
I think it goes back to relationship with my mom. And my mom is manic depressive, and I've, as far as I can remember from my childhood, like from early on, I was always just taking care of her and my sister as well. I don't know if my sister was actually ever officially diagnosed bipolar or not, but um, just feeling disconnected from them. And my dad passed 4 years ago, and so he was in his own way the gatekeeper, or not the gatekeeper, but the connector between us. And so I was still talking to both of them kind of separately. My sister stopped talking to my mom, and then my sister stopped talking to me again, and she'd go through these cycles of it. And so I've always, and I actually, the last time I talked to her, we've only been talking recently through text. We've never had a phone conversation or anything, but I kind of laid out like I've always felt like you never wanted me around, like, and went through a couple different situations. And she's like, I never wanted, never meant for you. I just didn't like myself. And so, and I kind of knew that, but it still doesn't feel that way. And so, um, I don't know. And we haven't talked much recently, but I have been trying to get a little bit closer with my mom. And she asked me the other day, long story short, but I had her get on with another coach. She wanted help or she didn't, I don't know. But then when we got off with her, it was just the two of us, and she's like, basically, she just point blank like wanted to know what I thought of her. And I didn't want to lie, but at the same time, I struggled to give her the validation she wanted. I did, I think, in some degrees, but it was, I felt like the way she was asking me is what I'm asking of my husband. And so I couldn't give it to her. So I'm thinking, well, he can't give it to me. But I still did give her some of it. I do see some of it, but I struggle to see that in her. So I think, I don't know if I've skewed my view of what, that's the view my husband, I've given him of me, or you know what I'm saying. Um, and so I think that answers your question.
So when was the first time you felt that worthless and shame, especially like in that relationship with your mom?
Ooh. Well, you have to ask the big questions, right, Isabel? I mean, I know the answers. It's hard to say it. Um, I got pregnant when I was 17, and her response to me was like, um, the boyfriend at the time. I was like, I'm assuming it's his, and just kind of made me feel like the biggest slut out there. And she's since apologized for it, and I've released it at different points, but it always comes back to the one time I finally wanted her help, that she wasn't there for me. I'm like, this whole time I've been helping her, and honest, and ironically, my dad and my sister were much better about it, but it was always, it was, yeah.
So, what did you take it to mean about yourself that when you needed support and love, and I'm sure a whole bunch of other things from your mom, that she wasn't there to give it to you?
Wasn't worth getting it. I can give it, but I can't receive it.
But when was the first time that you felt totally unworthy of receiving anything?
I can't think of anything specific, but just the feeling of the noise in the house of my mom and my sister, and always their needs came first. They were so much bigger, so I would just always shut down and go hide, or I would try to fix it.
And if you were to know, about how old were you when that started?
The age, the age that just popped in my head was 5. I don't know if that's, um, but I can even remember just seeing her cry and just wishing I could take her pain from for her. And she was always crying. There was this one point when my grandpa had to come live with us because there was a big fire, and there'd be just different times that she'd get hospitalized or things, and I just would want to take that on for myself instead. But so I've struggled so much to share who I am because I never had anyone to share it with.
So, what are your negative thoughts and emotions? Because your mom and your sister's needs always came first, and you just would hide, or nobody would really truly acknowledge or see you.
That I shouldn't be feeling anything, that I should just keep to myself and be quiet, and it wasn't worth anyone knowing what was going on with me.
And how did that make 5-year-old you feel?
Insignificant, like there was no point of me being there. Like my only role was to take care of others and make sure they were okay.
But when you thought about being insignificant and that your only role is to be there to take care of others, what did that make you feel?
Really lonely and hurt.
So, what did you need that you didn't get?
Someone to listen to me for a change.
What else?
Someone to give me advice, or to see if I was okay, or to even ask. My mom, even recently, my husband was there. She was just like, I thought you had the perfect childhood because you had such good grades. Literally said that, like, probably last couple of years. And that was her thought, is just, you were the perfect child, like you got the good grades. Your sister, I was always worried about her and everything, but you had the best childhood. And I was just so picked on by the other kids, and just she didn't see any of that. She like that literally was her impressions, like, you had the best childhood.
So you just needed to be seen.
Being seen and heard.
Mm-hmm. What else did you need that you didn't get?
I needed to be seen and heard for who I was, not who I was trying to be. Because even with the kids around, I would try to be someone else and always ostracized. And so I didn't feel like anyone wanted to hear who I was. And I think as I've gone down this personal development and the business aspect of it, I feel like I'm becoming more of who I am, but I don't feel that that's not who my husband wants. It's not who I was when we got married. I was a very good people pleaser and have been my whole life.
So when you just needed someone to listen to you, to just talk to you, make sure you're okay, to see you for who you really were, because you needed that and you didn't get that, what qualities and characteristics of yourself did you suppress?
My interests, because I felt like the things that I wanted weren't worth anything. I mean, as simple as I can remember a night of wanting something specific to eat, but I didn't want to say that's what I wanted because I wanted to make sure it was okay for everyone else. And so I've done that, struggled to express my desires because I'm afraid that no one even wants to hear them.
What else did you suppress?
Um, Things I enjoy doing, because at times I don't even feel like I know what that is because I was so busy just trying to do what other people wanted.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what do you enjoy?
Good question. I mean, it's funny because I used to love to read as a kid, and I've tried picking up books now, and I go in and out of reading, but
Well, that just means you haven't found the right book.
yes, and former English teacher right here. So, and I always felt like a fraud in the English department not reading on the side.
Just keep making a list over here. Okay. So what else? What else did you suppress about yourself? What other things did you really love that you just shoved down?
Things that I keep coming back to that I like. There's a guitar sitting in the corner. Like I've always wanted to play an instrument, but I've never. And I've tried picking it up, and actually, my daughter was playing it last night and broke the string on it. um, and drawing. I've always tried to come back to that. I've taken different drawing classes and stuff, but I do like being creative and putting things together. So I think that's where graphics and things come with the business and stuff that I've enjoyed doing, um, and doing stuff. But I guess I never put as much into it because I just thought it wasn't good enough. So why try? I do like doing puzzles with the girls. We do play a lot of
What
board
else?
games.
What else did you suppress about yourself because you didn't have anybody to listen to you or to just see you? What else did you suppress?
I feel like I'm blanking all of a sudden. Um, what did I suppress? Confidence in myself. Confidence that I could make a decision or a choice that other people wouldn't oppose. I was always trying to make decisions based on people's reactions and then pivot if it didn't seem right.
So when you're able to express your interests and your desires, and you're able to just do things that you enjoy to no expectation, you could read a book, you could play an instrument, you could draw. It doesn't need to be good, it doesn't need to be perfect, but you could just do it. And you can just be creative and put things together like puzzles and have the confidence in yourself, not just in yourself, but confidence in your choices and your decisions. And when you can have all of those things, what are your positive thoughts and emotions?
The word freedom just comes to mind.
Ooh.
And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said perfection on that, because, and it's funny because I'm like, just try it to the kids or just try it to other people. And then myself, it's like, if you can't do it right the first time, and um, I don't even, I guess it was that even like when I picked up the guitar, I wasn't like enjoying the process of it, but I think it for me, it's learning to enjoy the process of it. Um, and wanting to, even though I say it's okay to like have a chance to learn, it's like you just want to go from here to here and skip the whole part of it too. And
So it
ironically,
sounds like there's gonna
the
be some more
bracelet,
play.
yeah, the bracelet I picked up today, life is not a journey. A life is a journey, not a destination.
I mean, you can't make this up, really.
No. And I haven't worn a bracelet in forever, but I was sitting there this morning and just decided that I would pick like that. There was three there and I just picked one up.
Of course, and of course it would be that one. So there's going to be a lot more freedom, a lot more play, a lot more flow. What else?
And that's what I've been seeing is the play and the flow and the feel of it. And so I went into the Christmas trip to Puerto Rico with the expectation, like, I'm gonna let it go. And then I just was like even tighter
Mhm.
by doing that, by that expectation of free and flow. So I'm not like I somehow have to release that.
Yes. So releasing the outcome, releasing the expectation. So when you can release the outcome and the expectation, what can you have?
Actual freedom.
Yeah. And when you release the outcome and the expectations and you have this freedom, who can you be?
Me.
So, what are the qualities and characteristics of when Michelle gets to be Michelle?
Fun.
Oh, yeah, I bet you she is fun. What else?
um Smart,
Uh-huh.
creative, outgoing. And I'm going to throw this one out there because I need to step into it. Decisive.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So she's fun and smart and creative and outgoing and decisive. What else? What else is she?
um, Spontaneous,
Mm.
um, caring, kind, passionate, supportive, but also receives.
Yeah.
Confident. And just because I've been reading Worthy for too many times, confident, self-worth is a foundation. And feeling that that worth is worth sharing. And I don't know if you remember this last time, but when you had me on here, I was I was linking my worth to my business to money,
Mm-hmm.
and you had me link it to my voice and getting my
Mm-hmm.
voice out there.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
And so sharing my voice.
Anything else?
I think that's it for now.
So when you are hearing and seeing you for you and you're able to just express your interests and desires and do the things that you like to do to any extent. Where you can read or play an instrument or draw or just be creative and put things together. You can have confidence in yourself and in your choices and in your decisions because you have freedom, play, and flow. And you're pretty fun and smart and creative and outgoing and decisive and spontaneous and caring and kind and passionate and supportive. And you receive and you are confident and you have self-worth, and that worth is worth sharing, especially through your voice, because you're seeing and you're hearing yourself for you. So when you do all of that and be all of that and have all of that and are all of that, what can be different about approaching a conversation with your husband about your business?
That I know that I'm more sharing that with him and sharing the ideas that I've come up with, and I do know that they are good ideas, and I've been getting validation outside, but I also at the same time it's time for him to let me see who I am and see where it goes.
And when you are all of these wonderful, beautiful, amazing things, you believe that once you tell him that that 3 confidence can go up a little bit.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. I think so too. And you can feel that kind of just that tightness just melting away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not as tight right now.
Good. All right. Well, Michelle, you're a pretty kick-ass person. So go out there and kick some ass and be a great, amazing, wonderful human being, because you are, and talk to your husband and just show him this fun and smart and creative, outgoing, decisive, spontaneous, caring, kind, passionate, supportive, but you also receive the love and the feedback, right? It doesn't receive the, hey, this isn't perfect, but I'm putting it out there because it's worth sharing. And if he has an idea, be like, oh, that's a really great idea, I'll consider it. Own your shit, girlfriend.
I'll consider it. I like that.
Yeah. Be like, oh, that's an interesting perspective I didn't have before. Thank you for sharing that. You got this. I have full body chills. I have goosebumps. It's going to be amazing. So, is there anything else that we need to talk about today in order for you to feel whole and complete?
At the moment.
Oh, good. Good. Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to open this up for questions. You're totally free from anything because you're in your happy space now. You can answer questions, you can ask a question, or you can just kind of sit here and just take in the love. You got lots of love in the chat. So for those of you hanging around and watching, what questions, if any, do you have about today? Any questions, comments, observations? You're giving some people some Wandas. I love that movie, Kathleen. That's a great movie.
Yep.
Any questions? I'll give you a second. I'm sure some of you are typing. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Okay, how do I stop and get insight into how to ask questions in a way that she can respond? Great question, David. So it's a little bit of what like we teach in coaching, and then a little bit of intuition. So in coaching, we teach you what empowered questions are, right? We're always asking open-ended questions, right? Because if I just ask her a yes or a no question, I have to work so much harder. If I'm like, okay, Michelle, yes or no, and she goes no, and then I'm like, I have no other information to work with. So when I'm asking questions, I'm asking open-ended questions, right? It's kind of like it's like the short answer responses. It's not multiple choice. So I'm getting more information, and then I can take that information and then ask more questions. And then I'm using some of my intuition and a lot of context clues, right? Miss English teacher over here, to go back through and find connections to think of, okay, where can I ask a question that's going to take us to a deeper space instead of just, oh, how can I get more information, right? It's like each question is intentional, right? It's getting you to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. So yes, you're going to love Activate. It's great. We're going to teach you about all the questions and all the ways to do this so that you can do exactly what I just did. You can take a call start to finish, coach somebody start to finish.
Plus you're a master at the pregnant pause.
Yes, I will just, it's my favorite. So one of my favorite tools in coaching is silence. And people are like, that's like a really like stupid like tool. But I'm like, no, you have to be comfortable sitting there in silence. Because if you sit there in silence, then psychologically, like people are just inclined to fill the silence. So unconsciously, your clients are going to say something. They're going to let something slip, and you're going to be like, yes, thank you very much. So yes,
You
utilize
just might need a better poker face than Isabel.
um so oh, thank you, David. That's so sweet. It's lots of practice, and it's building the relationship with your intuition to just kind of like keep that open channel of, hey, I'm going to trust my intuition. So the more that I trust my intuition, the more my intuition speaks to me. And intuition is huge when it comes to coaching, right? You can only get so much based off of questions. You have to then intuitively start making connections and trusting yourself to say, hey, something seems off here. Let's figure it out. That's what, when I talk about going down rabbit holes, that's what I'm like, oh, my intuition threw this word out. It made it stand out. So now we're going to go down this rabbit hole, right? It makes all the difference.
So what do your notes look like then on this?
My notes, you got a pink pen today, but my notes look like this. So I started just like with your name up here. These are kind of what you wanted to talk about, what you wanted at the end. And then I was like, confidence. I wrote it up here before I asked you. And then when I asked you, it was a 3. So that's when I was like, okay, I want to focus on that. And then just each kind of different line of questioning gets its own things, lots of arrows. See over here, I wrote shame question mark.
Yeah,
So
we'll get there.
I'm making my own notes on here, not just for the coaching, but also like I'm getting intuitive hits as we go through. So I'm making little things on here, and I'm writing down just about everything you say. You did so for my seasoned coaches who have done coaching before. You may have noticed I let Michelle go into a lot more like story and talking. And the reason I did that was because every time she would go into some type of story, she would drop some kind of bombshell. So I was like, oh, cool. I don't need to ask as many questions because I'll ask a question, she'll go into a story, and then she'll just like say something that's gold. And I'm like, cool, great, thank you. That answered my next 3 questions. So, because yeah, I figured somebody was gonna be like, she let her talk a lot, because I normally don't let people go into story much, but every time, and I'd wait a little bit, and after a certain point, I'd be like, okay, if she doesn't say anything soon, I'm gonna cut her off. But you'd like drop something, and I'm like, perfect. So like she would like talk, 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 talk. Oh, my husband says boom. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Right. Or talk, 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 talk. Oh, my mom, boom. So every time she'd say something, I was like, okay, so she was kind of, it was her way of just externally processing things, which is totally fine, right? You're going to get clients who are external processors, and they're going to just like kind of talk things out loud. And she'd say something, or she'd make a connection for herself. She'd be like, oh my gosh, she's like, I see the connection between what I did to my mom and what I'm in the reverse situation with my husband. I didn't need to point that out to her. I saw it, but she, by talking it out, made the connection. So I was like, okay, this is more beneficial than me just being like, no, Michelle, stop it. Let me just ask you a question. No, Michelle, stop it. Let me ask you a question. Because also, if you didn't hear it at the end, right? it also was a great thing that I allowed her to speak, because she's like, oh, my worth is in sharing my voice, and this is her way of sharing her voice. So even if you didn't know that about her before, right at the end when she's saying this, you're like, oh, it makes sense that's true, because she's really great at processing what's happening, and so she's kind of just allowing it to kind of filter out through. So that's I did do that, because I was like, oh, she'd just say something and I'm like, oh, that was brilliant. I'm like, oh, that I'm just going to ask questions on that now. And so it was still moving forward. It wasn't distracting. We weren't going like to France and now we're talking about something super random. It's like everything was still kind of on track. So that's how I kind of like made that choice. Right. And it's all coach's choice. So if I had decided, nah, I'm done, Michelle, stop talking, I want to ask you a whole bunch of questions now, I would have, and Michelle would have gone with it. She'd been like, okay, let me answer your questions. So it's all just kind of your own choices that you're making as a coach intuitively, right? You're intuitively making these choices and these decisions. You're so funny, David. Yes, you'll learn how to take notes. I take notes in a very like, I want to write down every single thing that my client says, because then later on in the coaching, when they try and contradict themselves, I can call them out on their bullshit. I'll be like, actually, what you said was, and they're like, I didn't say that. I'm like, well, you did. I wrote it down. So it's really great to just keep as much information that your client's giving you on the page as possible. Not so much of the stories, right? You'll notice I didn't write down her stories, but it's like a quote from her husband: "You never follow through." Husband. I'm like, well, that's interesting. And then now we're coaching around it here and here and here, right? I'm doing negative qualities and characteristics of people who aren't following through. And then this is like all, so like we're going through here, and I use lots of arrows. And oftentimes I use a highlighter if I'm like doing like longer coaching sessions so I don't lose things. But yeah, so you'll learn how to take notes and things like that. It's like a science.
You're gonna need to put a picture of your notes with the replay.
Yes, right. I should start doing that, huh? I feel like this is what it looks like. Um,
And
and
visual. I need the visual.
and as you're learning and practicing, this isn't how my notes started out when I first started coaching. These have evolved. My notes when I first started out coaching were like itty bitty. They were super tiny and it was really confusing. And all I was writing down were thoughts and emotions and behaviors. And I wasn't writing down anything else. And then it was like, I don't know where to go next, because all there is just feelings and I don't know what to do with them. So it's all good. Your notes don't need to be perfect the first little bit. As you practice, you kind of find, as you practice coaching, you find your coaching style and you find your coaching notes, and you kind of figure out, I'm really good at, I can keep things in my head so I can write, like if you're talking, I can keep writing down what you're saying and still be thinking. Like my brain can multitask like that. Some people can't do that yet. So like they'll say something and your client will stop. This is where you use silence. And then you just keep writing while they're silent and you're finishing your thought. And then either they'll say something because they don't like the silence, or they'll just stay silent while you finish your thoughts. It's a win-win. All right. Yes. And then using like the transcript of like from your Zoom or whatever to help you kind of initially after, especially if you are doing like a breakthrough and you're doing multiple sessions and you're like, I feel like I missed something, being able to have that. Great. So it's all practice and it's all going to be amazing. And I'm so excited for all of you who are coming to Activate this weekend. And I'll stop talking because we've gone 4 minutes over. So thanks for hanging out with us. I'm so excited to see you all this weekend. It's going to be so much fun.
I'll watch the transcript as it's going. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, watch it as it's going through. Got it. Okay. Yes, that too. Thank you. Okay. Bye, everybody. So much love. I'll see you
Thank
all.
you,
Bye,
Isabel.
Michelle. Thanks so
Thanks,
much.
everybody.
You're amazing. Thank you for coming up and sharing with everybody. Bye, everyone. Bye.